Hello and welcome everyone. This is ReCharge Alaska. ReCharge Alaska's team is small and nimble. Me, Chris Hall, the founder and electric vehicle, EV for short, enthusiast. My background includes over 10 years of medium-sized new equipment oilfield projects with emphasis on operations and maintenance of electrical equipment in the Arctic. ReCharge Alaska was developed because there's a hole in the EV space for Alaska. Currently, the mainland of Alaska is the only region of the United States that does not have DC fast charging available. We are here to close that gap and provide mobility for EVs in Alaska. Our mission statement is to define and develop solutions for deploying a public charging infrastructure, PCI for short, for EVs in the subarctic of Alaska. Alaska is like no other place for EVs. Most EV OEMs state in their vehicle's owner's manual not to operate in temperatures colder than minus 30 degrees Celsius. As you can see, that's just the south part of Alaska. And we have some crazy Alaskans pushing those limits in the interior of Alaska. One of the problems that we must solve for is providing mobility to the EV users of mainland Alaska. The solution needs to be self-sustaining. This is controlled by managing the operating fees from the utility companies. We need a solution that can operate throughout the year indifferent of the outdoor temperature, which affects the electrical gear used for EV charging equipment, and develop solutions to minimize the downtime from cold temperature related failures. EVs do not like the cold. They're very humanoid in this manner, and charging speeds are reduced when batteries are cold. Another complication is the current state regulations for utility companies do not allow for the resale power. Many challenges to work through for a viable solution. A viable solution is determined through data collection and evaluation. We are currently 60% into our initial installation in Cantwell, Alaska for a 50 kW DC fast charger. This is on the slow side of fast chargers. The Cantwell installation is supported by a grant from Golden Valley, as they want to collect data from the EVs that charge at this location. We have partnered with AAC to closely monitor 7 EVs in the interior of Alaska to help us understand the EV behavior when subjected to cold temperatures, other than what the OEM recommendations are. This data will provide us with anticipated range of EVs from summer to winter months and help us understand distances between DC fast charging locations. The initial installation in Cantwell is our test bed for trialing cold weather techniques on the DC fast charger. We've updated the OEM's minimum coolant operating temperature from minus 35 degrees Celsius to minus 55 degrees Celsius. And we have further techniques to be applied systematically as failures occur. The EV market has room to grow. Tracking the numbers from the DMV, the current market size is just above 0%. Non-EV owners may not understand the idea of charging at home, but current EVs are offered with about 250 to 400 miles of range and work great for regions that Alaskans live in. The issue comes when they want to travel from region to region. And Tesla stated in 2018, their customers' charging habits are about 90% at home and 10% at their supercharger sites. This is convenient to wake up to a full battery every morning, but highly inconvenient when traveling from region to region with a 4 to 6 hour stop to charge in the middle. We are taking a phased approach to installing our PCI. Phase 1 is data collection to confirm and or adjust our revenue model and evaluate our cold temperature kit. Phase 2 is to take those learnings and install at more sites for more locations for EV users to travel. This phase is planned to help grow the number of EVs in Alaska by increasing mobility of users. Phase 3 is installing ultra-fast chargers at key locations along the road system and pulling the slower Phase 2 machines into cities to account for the used EV market. Our market modeling shows EV saturation topping out at about 2% of the available market if a PCI is not available, and can grow to 8 to 10% by the end of the decade with a PCI available. Currently, the rates of growth from January to April, the first quarter of this year, has already showed signs of slowing down at 3% increase versus greater than 30% increase from the previous quarter. Evaluating our competition in a graphical form, on the y-axis is the number of steps needed to initiate a charging session, and on the x-axis is the customer interface with the machine. Tesla, they're vertically integrated with their equipment in EVs. Therefore, they make simple process of plugging in and no further actions required by the user. For the other networks listed, their offering entails their users to have a smartphone, an app, and an account through their app to use their equipment. ReCharge Alaska knows the next EV owner is someone who's accustomed to gas pumps. Therefore, we want our user interface to be the same. No need to pull out a smartphone and wait to activate through the web. All activation is done locally through a credit card reader. The Alaska Energy Authority, AEA from here on out, has released their VW settlement grant funding to the public. This grant money is available to everyone who meets their requirements. ReCharge Alaska has applied for their grant for a second location. but we fundamentally disagree on several other requirements and anticipate our terms and conditions to not be accepted by AEA. With that said, we're not the only group who applied and know that this grant will activate many other groups to take a go at the EV charging space. Cantwell was chosen for the main purpose of being the furthest south Golden Valley provides electricity along the Parks Highway. It is close to the halfway point between Anchorage and Fairbanks, at 210 miles north of Anchorage and 140 miles south of Fairbanks. This location is geared toward the EV road trippers between the two locations. Golden Valley has a lower cost to operate when compared to the other 6 utilities in mainland Alaska, like considerably. This is the connection fee that we would pay for the same machine at other utilities with the number of connections on the right side of the graph. It can be expensive. Charging customers for our service is a tricky task when we do not believe in selling energy as a unit at a time. This will especially affect users when we get into phase 3 machines, as not all EVs are built the same. Some can take on energy much faster than others, and we do not want to unfairly weight our EV customers based on their vehicle. The best way to do a custody transfer of energy is through a defined unit of measurement. We are applying the same standards from the oil field to our customers by working with Golden Valley to provide a direct pass-through of the amount of kilowatt hours a customer consumes. This is a big win. ReCharge Alaska will charge our customers a connection fee, and the amount of energy consumed from the charging session will be directly applied to our customers' charges at the end of the session. In the graphical form, we have the y-axis on as the number of connections and the x-axis as time. We're showing the projections of best case, normal case, and worst case based on the existing connections counted through plugshare.com. For the Cantwell location, as the EV community does not have a PCI, we anticipate seeing numbers closer to the best case based on the ability to reduce commuting times between Fairbanks and Anchorage. Our initial installation is supported through a Golden Valley grant awarded to ReCharge Alaska. We are actively seeking financial support to develop 7 more locations: Healy, Fairbanks, North Pole, Delta, Glen Allen, and Valdez. These locations are based on the utility provider's rates as shown in slide 10. By the end of phase 2, we plan to have about 50 DC fast chargers across mainland Alaska. The investment is long-term, as our revenue is a function of EV users, and we need more EV users to make this a viable business. Thanks for your time. And again, I'm ReCharge Alaska.